clinicians, nurses and doctors should in the future have a lot of hours to train in virtual environments.
The more important point is thinking big. This is the conclusion.
The ones who survive are the ones that are always there.
You have the knowledge, you can create the question and you can give the answer. And this is your power, but you don't realize of that until you go up from the underground to the country. There is sun, there is clouds.
Welcome to today's second roundtable entitled Revolutionizing Health, Conversations with Doctors, Researchers, Entrepreneurs. I'm Adriana, and it's an honor for me to be here today surrounded with these brilliant speakers. Throughout this roundtable, what we want is to provide a unique perspective on entrepreneurship, featuring doctors and researchers who have created their own project. The idea is for them to share with us their experiences from the motivations that drove them to undertake this venture to the ups and downs along the way. Before starting, I would like to thank you for being here today, because our main goal is to inspire you and to foster reflection on how crucial entrepreneurship is. And at the end, we'll have a Q&A section where you can add on to this conversation. And now, please, let's give a warm welcome to Daniela Tost, CEO of Virmedex, Daniel Esteban-Ferrer, CEO of Brain, and José Ibeas, founder of Anais Medical. On behalf of the organizational committee, I want just to express my sincere gratitude to you for accepting our invitation and being here today. And now, please, if Daniela, could you start introducing a little bit yourself and telling us about your background and the institution you represent, and then we'll pass on Jose and Daniel. Thank you.
Sure. So first of all, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here today. Thank you to Scalpel and all the organization. I'm Daniela Tost. I am currently a teacher at the Technical University of Catalonia, the UPC. I teach computer science, serious games and gamifications, and medical imaging. So my approach of the medical field is from the computer science field. And my main interest is in video games. Why video games? Because video games have a power further than just a pleasure. You can learn a lot of things by playing, and precisely you can learn, train, diagnose, and rehabilitate through games. And this is my specialty. So I've been working at the UPC for a lot of years now, and at the moment we, in a collaboration with the Hospital Clínic of Barcelona and the Facultad de Medicina of the UB, we created a prototype of a game to train cardiopulmonary bypass. And this game evolved, and at a given moment we decided that it was time to create a company that would exploit commercially the results of this game and go further beyond and create new games for other kinds of applications. The basic idea is, would you let a plane pilot to take a plane just based on theoretical lectures? No, impossible. You want him or her to have learned and trained a lot and a lot and a lot. And this is what we think. We think that clinicians, nurses and doctors should in the future have within their curriculum, not only in the universities, but also after, in the routine daily practice, have a lot of hours to train in virtual environments, and this is what we provide. So our key technologies are video games, virtual reality, and artificial intelligence to give support to all this. Thank you.
Well, I'm José Ibeas. I'm a nephrologist. I work in the world of kidney diseases. I work in the Partoli University Hospital here in Sabadell. I am director of the research group of clinical, interventional, and computational nephrology. In our group, we work in a lot of field of research in kidney diseases, but also in biosensor and devices in order to diagnose and to make prognostic in kidney diseases, and also in computational nephrology related with artificial intelligence. And these big branches, that is biosensors, other one is clinical nephrology, other is artificial intelligence. We work in collaboration with University Pompeu Fabra, with biomedical engineering school, and with Autonomous University in the engineering school for engineering. In this context, one of the areas that we work a lot is in training doctors in all related with interventional surgical procedures. In kidney diseases, as you know, we have to connect the human being with the machine, with the dialysis. And with connection requires surgeries, placement of catheters. Also for the diagnosis, we have to do kidney biopsies. And to put catheters in the peritoneal cavity, we have to make surgeries. Then for all this, retraining. And for training, we have two options. One, with the patient, and the name of the simulator is José Pérez, and the other with simulators. If any of us want to be treated by some doctor, and the doctor the first time that touch a patient is any of you or I, we have a problem. So the training should be made better with some kind of simulators. For this reason, some years ago, we were in our group, we have biomedical engineers, like some of you. We work with any kind of imaging, and we transfer this kind of imaging to synthetic simulators and to virtual reality and augmented reality simulators. In this way, any of you have to work with any kind of patients. Before to work with the patient, you can practice your skills and you learn all tips and tricks with simulators that imitate and related with interventional surgical procedures, and in the middle with glasses that you can see anything that you want to do, anything that you are going to do with the patient in a virtual fashion in such kind of simulation that you can imitate any kind of procedure you want to do in your general practice. For this reason, when we realize that we can work with our imaging, the imaging of our patients, joining the STL or all the models of imaging in printing, in 3D printing or virtual reality, we thought that perhaps why not we can create our own enterprise, our spin-off, in order to give the opportunity to the community to use our tools. For the reason, a couple of years ago, we create ANAIS Medical, anatomical interventional simulators, ANAIS Medical, in order to give the opportunity to our students, trainees, residents, and so on, and even skilled doctors to be trained for the first time or to improve the skills in any kind of surgical interventional procedure in order for the benefit of the patient. So in summary, I think that our message is that, I'm a doctor, as you see, our message is if you have any kind of idea, and we will speak about this afterwards, why not to transfer all the research to innovation, that is to transfer all your idea to the value of the population of the market.
So first of all, thank you very much to the organizers for such a great event. It's great to have young and enthusiastic people here in front. I'm Daniel. I'm the founder and CEO at Brain, and I come from telecommunications engineering, so I'm the outlier maybe. But from telecommunications, I went to material science, nanotechnology in the University of Berkeley for 1.5 years, something like that. Then back here, doing more into biophysics. So I wanted to start something that has more impact in society than just creating a cell phone or something like that. And that's where I took my PhD and I defended my thesis. And then went to Cambridge on a postdoc for fusing virtual reality with nanoscopy, super resolution microscopy. So I've been always working with really small stuff. But I saw during all my career, I saw this lack of tools to visualize, manipulate, and analyze this kind of multidimensional data in general, in bioimaging. And that's how it came to my mind to start entrepreneurial career. And well, as I'm a geek gamer and I like a lot virtual reality, I saw the opportunity, and now it's called spatial computing through Vision Pro from Apple. Now everybody's going to say spatial computing. So we use spatial computing to visualize and about 100, so it's about 100 times more data than in a flat screen. But also this kind of data is getting more complex, more resolution, more data. It's unannotated, it's unsorted, and something like AI is crucial to analyze this kind of data, automatize some processes, And our idea is to save from 1 to 2 hours per doctor per day in tasks that are repetitive, that need to be done but don't have any added value. So we want the doctors to have time to do like what really matters, like doing research, personalized medicine, and yeah, that's what we do. And also to like avoid all these headaches that you guys might have in the future. And we have also a workshop. Yesterday we had one, and this afternoon also, with our tool, which is an educational tool, but we want it to become software as a medical device in the future.
Thank you. And now I would like to start with the first block, asking you what actual moment inspired you to begin doing this project and starting your own business. If Daniela, would you like to start?
Actually, for the first product that that we have launched to market, which is the cardiopulmonary bypass trainer, what happened is that I was working on a project of reconstruction, 3D reconstruction of the mitral valve. And I am an engineer, so I'm not a physician. So I assisted to a surgery, and I didn't know at that moment what was the cardiopulmonary bypass. And the surgeon asked the perfusionist, please, can you raise the pump? And she didn't raise the pump enough, and he started yelling at her. It was terrible. So I thought, here there is a problem. There is something that could be avoided. It was very tense in the operating room, and I thought, I would like to know what is this device and how we can train people to use it better. This was the seminar idea, and around this we observed 3 problems. First, knowledge of the physiological system, machine, patient. Second problem, capacity of communicating. When the surgeon tells you, you have to put on the pump, you have to say, okay, I'm doing it. And he has to tell you, okay, I understand. So this closed loop of communication was very important. And the third aspect is the ability to take decisions in critical moments, well, in all moments. And so we decided to create this software that would train the 3 aspects: physiological modeling, communication skills, and decision and reaction time training. This was the beginning, and from that we jumped at creating the company at a moment in which we thought that from a basic research point of view, there was nothing more that we could do, and it was time to transfer it to society.
Jose, if you want to add something on what Daniela said.
Well, what's really your aim with this question? Try to show how to create a business model with your idea, or?
I was asking that if there is any specific moment that made you say, I have to do this, and it's time to start my own business.
Yes. Well, I think that probably when you sleep, in some moment your brain is working, and suddenly you have your idea to create your own business model. The point sometimes is that for people like the physicians, that we are not used to that. It's not like engineers or people that work in some kind of field where usually you work in private companies, or you usually work in some kind of model that you depend on yourself. In health, in this country, we are used to work in the hospital, with a lot of work, with a lot of needs, with a lot of problems. But we work with usually big infrastructures that depends on the public health system. We have any kind of thing that we can use for the patient. And we depend on that we have in our hands. But sometimes we feel that we have the lack of something. Perhaps our tools are not enough good for the patients. And in some countries in Europe, like ours, on the south of Europe, you are not used to think that perhaps if you have an idea, you can put this idea in the market. And in fact, we have to hire the services of companies in the United States. We have to pay a lot of money for simulation models that were really not very good. So we thought, why not to create our own models as we want for the best training for our residents. For this reason, we thought the only way to do that is to create a company. So we have the knowledge, you have the front of the hospital, you have the engineers, if we have some enterprises that we can have agreements, why not to create some environment to facilitate this? And the way to do that is only one, to create a company. And this is the moment where we that, and we did it.
Okay, thank you. And Daniel, do you have also any specific moment where you decided it's time for me to start brain?
Yeah, so I think I pointed out a bit at the beginning, but I saw a big lack of representation of all this multidimensional data. And in fact, one of the places where it opened my eyes more was in Cambridge when we were purifying one of my T cells and then kind of tagging the membrane of the cell, bringing VR and then doing a zoom in and see my own cell, like being inside my own cell and see these small points which represented proteins clustering and interacting. So that was really open-minded. And yeah, I've been quite, or I had quite an entrepreneurial attitude all my life, and I just decided to go ahead. And it's plenty of risks, of course, but yeah. And we started as a medical device company, and this is our core, but you have to realize that medical devices take quite long until they go or reach the market, because probably mainly the certifications, but also because if you go to public system, you need to apply to tenders, and it's quite difficult to, to compete with the big ones. So that's when we decided to go also into education, which doesn't require that much. And with people in Scalpel, we have good brainstorms, and now we have a tool which is quite more advanced than at the beginning. So thank you very much, guys. And it's open to anyone. So we are in Barcelona, and we would love your feedback because you are the users of the future. And once you test these kind of products, the ones that we are developing, you won't want to go back, I guarantee. So
I totally agree.
And now I would like for you to tell the audience why should they entrepreneur from your point of view, and what you have made with your own projects, how that impact, and why they should do so.
I would not say that you should be entrepreneurs. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
First of all, you should be good physicians. That's the most important thing. But yes, being open, as it was told in the previous roundtable, the important thing is to know that you can have ideas, and that you can create companies, that this is good for the country and this is good for the patients. But it's not an obligation. I mean, all the profiles are more than welcome. I think as a possible patient, the most important thing I want to my physician is to be good and attentive to me. So I would say the important lesson to be learned today is that you should know that this world of entrepreneurship exists and that it is open to you. Be curious. But then, for your life, do whatever you want.
Well, I think the more important point is thinking big. This is the conclusion. Because when we are students of medicine, when I study medicine, the only thing that you think is in patients, as usual. You have to be a good doctor. You have to be, you have to have the best skills to communicate, to make diagnoses, to make prognosis, to give treatment to the patients. To give the opportunity to the patients to have a very good communication with you because you have important skills. But when you start working in the hospitals, you realize that perhaps there is a lot of things that you can, in which you can help to the environment. And you can help with research, making out of trials, making collaboration in research with out of groups, and even discovering new drugs and so on. But this is the classical research that we are using to work with different groups in order to make a lot of studies. But in the degree, in the faculties, in the schools of medicine, nobody teaches us how to make innovation. And what's innovation? Because research is to make some kind of investigation, after make a publication, and after with this publication, with this paper, you make a selfie. And you show this selfie to your friends, to your family, or you're happy, fantastic, you're very famous. But innovation is with this selfie, with this research, get money, get value. And this is a big difference that nobody teaches us in the School of Medicine. And this is very important because sometimes when you're working in the hospital, you realize that you can help with your knowledge, with your ideas, to perhaps to make a better scalpel or to make a better radiography, or better to make a better CT scan. And to do that, sometimes you need to know how it works, the world of innovation. Innovation, finally, it makes you to open the door of thinking a new manner. A new manner is not only to make research, to discover new drugs and new things, but also to create the infrastructure, to create your own tools, or your own devices, your own even artificial intelligence algorithms. And for this, you need the help of people that usually are not inside of the hospital. Inside the hospital, we have the classical doctors, nurses, also we have the managers of the hospital, but there are some engineers, but the big engineers, the people that can give you the opportunity to create your own tools, are outside. And for this, you have to learn how to create new relations with people that is not around your comfort area inside the hospitals. And this means that perhaps you need some kind of training that is not inside of your school. And this is already with entrepreneurship. And for this reason, I try to give you the message that you have to think big. And have the ambition, perhaps, in the same way that you are studying statistics or you are studying artificial intelligence or something that is more related with medicine, perhaps study something that is not close, but is very important for your future, that is already with entrepreneurship.
Thank you, Jose and Daniela. Now, moving to the next block, I would like to dig into your entrepreneurial journey, and I would like to start asking Daniel, which moment did you find especially hard when founding Brain, and how did you manage it?
The hard moments.
Yeah.
Every day, 5 times or something like that. It's so entrepreneurship is a hard journey. I think it's really nice and rewarding. But I guess you have to focus in the people, like people in general. In our case, our values are super clear because we are a company with an impact and we want like really to help you guys because you are essential in this society. And if we can make something to help in this direction, because there is a lack of specialists. So I wouldn't say or tell you guys go and do entrepreneurship because we need you. But other than that, if you do, as we said, like our company aims for saving a lot of time, this time that it's not an added value time. And yes, I think people is essential. So either your clients, they have to love your product. So really, they have to need it. Otherwise, if it's just an incremental thing, it's very difficult to change the minds of people. When it's a revolution and you change lives, that's when a product is well, think big, right? And not only the clients, users, but also the team. The team is essential, and this has been maybe the hardest part to set up a team. We are around 12 people now, and I'm super happy and super proud of what we have. And with small companies, you really need to be trusting, and we have humble people, and the values we share or the culture of the company is very, very, I think, shared by all, and we have the same vision and ambitions, and also being in health is one of our, I think, main goals to help you guys and help the patients.
Thank you. I guess that for you, Daniela, was also really hard to start because in the beginning, I mean, probably you all were lost and you need help. But what is the most valuable learning you have gotten from that?
I have to say that, as it was said in the previous roundtable, Barcelona is an excellent place to be an innovator and an entrepreneur in the field of biomedical engineering and biomedicine in general. So we are very thankful for the support of ShareTech, of the Collège Ibeas, of Women in Health, and many cash-in pools. So we applied to various valorization projects, and this was a good point. We have also got subvention from the ministry and from Axio, which are very important. This is relatively new, but it's very important. Without this help, it wouldn't be possible, and it brings you to a position in which maybe, with some luck, some investors can come, and from this you can grow on. We are still on a very difficult moment, but better moment now. Only 70%, only 30% of the startups work actually after 10 years. So it's very difficult, and 40% in 40% of the cases, it is because of financial reasons. So there is a lack of money, and we don't know exactly how to find money. This is a whole world that we have to learn, and for me, it has been the key point. And I agree with you that the best point of entrepreneurship is the team.
Mm-hmm. And I'm also quite in the same direction that Axio, for instance, has helped us quite a lot. With, for instance, TechnioSpring, which is do you guys know what TechnioSpring is? Is a postdoctoral position where they grant you 2 years of a postdoc, and it's been like such a great thing. And also industrial PhDs and other kind of help. So for us, Axio has been very, very good.
Thank you. And Jose, do you think that being a doctor, the fact that you were a physician, that you hadn't had like that knowledge that maybe other careers could offer to you, do you think that made harder to start your own project, or maybe to decide that it was the right path?
Really, you see, this is a curious question. No, it's a fantastic question, but the answer is curious, because as you are a doctor, you are really in a cave. You are hidden under the ground because you are working with patients in a world that only is health, health, and health. And you don't think usually nothing more than that. But when you realize and you change your mind 180 degrees and you think that perhaps you can contribute to create something, it's completely different, and your power is that, because you have the knowledge that you want. You have the knowledge, you can create the question, and you can give the answer. And this is your power, but you don't realize of that until you go up from the underground to the country. There is sun, there is clouds. Because when we work in health, we only see patients, but diseases, questions, problems, but we realize that we can help to the solution. For the reason when you realize that you can help in that, you realize that you have the key really to formulate the question, to give the answer, and to create a roadmap to get it. The problem for that is the solution, that you need a multidisciplinary team. I totally agree with you that the solution is the team of managers, engineers, developers, and so on, to create your idea, because the same knowledge that you have as a doctor, these people, the engineers, have the same knowledge as engineers. And the mixture of that, of the engineers and the medicine, is crucial. The problem is when the doctors, we are alone, or the engineers are alone. With this lack of knowledge in the middle, you don't go anywhere, because it has no sense. For this reason, I think that when we doctors, we change our mind. It's like when you suddenly have wings in your back. It's completely different. And then, sure, you need some kind of knowledge of entrepreneurship, of engineering, and so on, because in this area, then you realize there's another work. For instance, I also work in artificial intelligence. In fact, we are developing models in artificial intelligence for diagnosis, prognosis of kidney disease. And in fact, I study also artificial intelligence. And we work with data science or architecture of data or engineers. You realize the mixture of those is crucial to develop these models, because if you don't have the language of the other one, you don't understand. And the same for any kind that you do, developing devices and so on. For the reason, I tell you with these two concepts, the first one is the team. You have to trust the team. It's crucial. Have you ever seen some team of gladiators with successfully the working team? It's the same. And the other point is realize that all the knowledge you have, if you share it with the people who have used the same knowledge in other areas, I can see that this is not additive. This is exponential.
Just one small thing here. I was surprised how many students are into entrepreneurship. So it's just something that surprised me, because some came and were like, okay, I'd like to do that, and I was surprised, because at the beginning I was like, well, they are in there, doing all the day practicing with the patients and whatever. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I at least know a few from here that actually want to pursue entrepreneurship.
Exactly.
And that's why I would also like to ask you do you have any practical advice or tip for them that are seeking to start their own project in the future after getting formatted as physicians?
Resilience. I would say that you have to stand no matter what. The ones who survive are the ones that are always there. So resilience and good mood, enjoying the experience and the adventure.
Think big. And the question is not why, is why not? Anything that you are doing, you have to think big. I'm going to put you some example. When I was a student like you, I was in my third year in the rotation of otorhinolaryngology, and I was with my mentor at otorhinolaryngology, and we were speaking about when you're a student, why not thinking in create something? And for instance, because we are in the OR, operating some patient, and sometimes you have in your hand something that did not work, and you can think, why not I can create it? And I asked my mentor, but what are you speaking about? You are thinking that you can contribute to create something? Yes, why not? And he told me about the example of a resident of the second year of otorhinolaryngology in the United States, where in the field of the surgery, this student, resident of second year, thought that the tissues that they were operating were very soft. And the question is, why not to create an artificial tissue to make operations when you have some lack of tissue, put a new tissue, a new vessel, like the Dacron, the PTFE, PTFE, or something like that. And this resident create this artificial tissue in the residency of second year. The problem is he didn't follow the residency. He did not end the residency because it was necessary. He became rich, and this is the dream of the classical American students. But well, this is the classical example that independent of that you have a very good idea. You have to first believe in your idea. Second, never forget protect your idea. Don't tell your idea like a joke to all your friends and so on. And three, create an environment where you trust the people you have around in order to always have your side at the end of the road, not in the middle. It's like when you are learning how to drive a bike, where do you see? On front, on the floor. You see the floor, you saw in the floor, you are going to fall. So for this reason, you have to think big, have a good team, believe in your ideas, and the main thing is independent of the experience you have, believe in yourself.
Thank you for your insight. To end this block of conversation, could you, Daniel, tell us also your piece of advice for the audience?
Yeah, so related also to this last question that you had, love the problem, not the solution. So the problem is the most important. And I think when you're doing a research paper, it's the same. When you are doing entrepreneurship, it's the same. Like, yeah, we are here to solve problems, and big problems, as I said. Like, if it's something that, oh, I'm improving this a 5%, okay, maybe someday it's gonna, but go for the problem and the real ones, you know, the pains. What's the pain? And a bit what happened with me was that, like, okay, I am seeing these images here. I don't have a relation of them in a flat screen, and when you put it in VR, it's like, okay, it's evident. So my advice is do what you like, of course. And if you go into entrepreneurship, go with a problem that really, really annoys you, something that is the worst you do in your day by day. That's what you have to do. And then the solution will come. Don't start by the solution.
Thank you. I'm sure that the audience will find really useful your advice. And now, moving into our last block, I would like to talk about how do you envision the future of the simulation field, also virtually or physically simulation, and what do you think that is the long-term objective of each of your companies?
Simulation. So there are two kinds of simulations. Physical simulation, in which you really need hardware, which is very important, especially if you have to train your motor skills, abilities, and purely virtual simulation, which is what I do. But no matter, and the two are very needed and very complementary. So the way I envision the future, it will not be possible to start anything at the beginning of the day. You will be training 5 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, depending on your needs, but this will be completely integrated in not only in the studies, but in the daily life practice. And this will be each time better and each time more realistic, because it will be based on real good artificial intelligence.
Daniela, as a professor, do you envision a future where all students, all med students, could use virtual simulation for their training?
Absolutely, absolutely, but not only with glasses. I mean, for instance, you can play 2-hour games not only with glasses, but just connecting on the website, or in the future in a mobile. So the question is that you need to have ubiquitous access to simulations at any time of the day, and this will be, but not only in medicine, in the medical field, everywhere. Whenever you will have to use a device, you will have a training system, and this training system will provide you feedback and will provide everyone a lot of information on what is difficult, what it is not, and so they will self-improve based on the experience of all the users. And our way of doing this is doing this through games. Why not?
Thank you. And Jose, going back to my first question, what long-term impact do you hope to achieve through Anais Medical?
Sorry?
What long-term impact do you want to achieve through Anais Medical?
Well, I think that like any of us is trying to help to the medical community with simulation. I think that all of us, we are working in different fields, but with the common aims of trying to facilitate to the students of medicine, the residents, the experts even in medicine, to improve their skills, to learn skills, and so on. So our future probably is to try to use our experience, our skills, in order to, in all the fields in medicine, that is heart, lungs, gastroenterology, brain, and so on, try to create models, synthetic models, and artificial intelligence-based models for virtual reality, to try to help students in medicine work better. Today, the problem is that in the most parts of Europe and United States, it's going to be more difficult to visit the patient like first time directly to the patient, to the students. Because now the new law says that the patients have to allow the student to go in the room. When I studied medicine, it was very easy because the contact was very, there is not this kind of laws. Now, the access to the patient is more difficult during the residency, more during the School of Medicine, And the problem of this is that there is a lot of pathologies that the only way to study and to understand this is with patients. So the future is to create so realistic patients that you have the feeling that you are with a patient, but you are not with a patient. I think the future is that in all the kind of specialties. In such a way that the first time we are in contact with a patient, we have the feeling that we know a lot of things about this patient without being in contact previously with this patient. So the future, I think, is imitate the reality as much as possible. In fact, there is a lot of movies of that, and think, never forget that the reality always go beyond than the fiction. So probably in a close time, you realize that perhaps we are in a room like this, but none of you, but your avatars, you are not going to be here, our avatars, and you are going to be trained with glasses, and we are going to speak, make networking here, but each one of us, we are going to be at home or hospitals.
Thank you, Jose. And for you, Daniel, how do you envision brain in 5-10 years?
So brain wants to become the X-rays of the 21st century. We want to be the gold standard of bioimaging, visualization, and analysis. So we hopefully standardize something that is nowadays is so, each brand has their own thing, and we want all the instruments to be able to be used with one tool, which makes it easier to understand, easier to learn, and also more modular, because we have an horizontal platform, easy to reprogram for other tasks like oncology, neurology, and other verticals, of course, surgery. And I see the future like that, and also, as I said, with the starting of Apple Vision Pro, I think in 5-10 years, everybody's going to be wearing glasses. So the spatial computing time is coming. And I think for medical applications should be one of the first to be benefit on that trend, because it will make a difference.
Thank you. I hope we all can experience the future that you envision. And now, as the time is cutting off, as the time is almost out of time, we're going to proceed to the Q&A section. So if in the public during this time has any question arising, it's your opportunity to ask. Please, can someone hand her a microphone?
Hello, thank you for your talk. I have a question that is also linked to the previous talk. Sir Esteban-Ferrer, when you talked about the stages of your startup where you wanted to implement your idea to the public sector, and you saw that there was big companies that already had the market, can you elaborate more on this challenge? Why is it important to be able to face the older companies so that we can offer the new solutions to a larger scale? And do you think that in the recent future we will find solution to deploy the solution that startups offer to a larger scale more easily? Thank you.
Maybe.
Yeah, if you want to start.
I can take it, yes. It's related to a bit what I said. Thanks for the question. Yeah, this is one of the big questions, right? Because the big players here kind of have big barriers to let us penetrate. But nowadays, it's starting to change with the open innovation thing. So big companies understand that startups are fast and they can pivot fast. They have people who is good in the teams, as I said, the teams are really innovative, doing research and development. So they are start to see that they can collaborate, and sometimes it's a good collaboration to go with General Electric or Philips. But you have to be very careful, like always sign NDAs, protect yourself, as they said, because they are the big ones and they can eat you fast. And the second, in our strategy, we think that we're going to start with the US market because the FDA regulation is easier in some sense. For instance, for AI, there are AI products out there, and if you have something that has been done before or similar things, you can have a regulation path, which is called 510K, and you can go much faster. And also the channel is easier because you don't have to compete, or yes, you do, but if you go to Mayo Clinic or whoever and they like your solution and they see the potential, they just buy it. They work as CEOs and as a company. And here is very different. Hope you.
And now, if anyone has any other answer, please. Since we are almost out of time, we answer those two questions and then we proceed to end this conversation.
Hello, thank you so much for your talk. I wanted to ask you, going into the mindset of a med student, which we often are put into a place where we memorize stuff all the time and we learn in this kind of really close-minded environment sometimes in which nobody kind of facilitates that thinking outside of the box. How can we boost our creativity while we're in med school so that when we become physicians, we can see the problems that you're talking about? Because seeing those problems is not something that just comes up, right? You gotta have sort of a mindset that lets you think outside of the box and think about new ideas and whichever you can do to improve what's already there.
Actually, maybe I'm doing publicity of what we do, but I think that if you can play the situation, that if you can experience the situation that you will live in when you will be when you will be practicing your profession, then you start to seeing things that you don't like. For instance, in the game, this I don't like it. This is a good training also for students because you experience the real life and you can report things that you think that are not as they should be. And so experiencing is the first, is the moment in which you have to change your mind.
Thank you. And lastly, I think that there was another to the right.
Thank you for your words. They really were food for thought. But I have two questions, in fact. Jose, you said a very important data that is that we need to protect our ideas. I would like you to ask you how can we do it? Because sometimes, it's very difficult, especially because, competitive environments are at the bottom. When you are at the top, you are collaborating. I have experienced it as a medical student who is also an entrepreneur. And also, I have another question for you three. How can we continue being entrepreneurs once we finish our med school? If the residence program here in Spain doesn't let us have a company while doing it, what's the solution or what's the alternative we have? Thank you very much.
This is a fantastic couple of questions to end the session. The first one, and the second one too, depends of the research institutes of the hospitals. Because you are not going to know how to protect your ideas because nobody in the School of Medicine is going to teach you how to do it. Perhaps in engineering school, but not in medicine. So in all the big hospitals in across Europe, Spain or Barcelona, there are like we call the research institutes, and Hospital del Mar, Sant Pau, Sabadell, Bellvitge have this research. And the research and innovation institutes also always there are teams that are in charge of how to work with the intellectual property, industrial property, patents, and so on. And these people work in that. And these people that work in that, they can do it by their own, or they can hire the services of big companies that show you how to do it. So when you have some idea, the first thing you have to do it is to put your hand in your mouth. Not tell even your mother. Okay, your mother is or your father is the more dangerous one in the market. My daughter has a fantastic idea. Then, with this kind of teams that they're working on that, they can help you what to do in the different steps to protect your idea. The point is that to do that, you need money. Then the money comes from your idea, and depending on your idea, you have to sell a little your idea to get this money to protect the idea. It's like a circle you have to manage very well. For the reason you need to work with things that can help you, okay? But answering the first part to this question, somebody had to teach you how to do it. And in the School of Medicine, nobody is going to teach you. So in the different environments here, for instance, in Barcelona, this is one of the biggest ones in Spain, or in different countries across Europe, then you have to look where are the different programs of teaching entrepreneurship. That there are a lot of programs, but it's not easy sometimes to reach this. But when you reach them, it's relatively easy to keep going. But the problem always is that it's a not easy pathway where you have to identify these kind of programs, and after you enter in these programs, you enter in contact with investors, with different competitions to get money. Then you realize that there are the public system and the private system. They join themselves. There are different teams that are connected with different groups, and it's like a huge world where all is connected. But sometimes it's not easy to enter. In some areas, for instance, here in Spain, the government tried to improve this kind of offer to the medical community, and not yet to the students like this. For this reason, it's a very good point to give the opportunity to the university to create this forum. But the point is that sometimes there is not a specific program for this for the schools. And then just today, you have to look for that. Even the doctors in the hospital, you have to look for that. Nobody is paying us. And here in Catalonia, there is, for instance, Biocat, Acció, Sartec, even the Department of Health, that if you look for it, you can get it. So, for this reason, I think that you, the students or the young doctors, have an important role in order to demand this to the public system to create the environment of training for these people in the degree, in the post-degree, in the predoctoral, postdoctoral, and so on.
Thank you for your insightful questions. And finally, to end up this conversation, I want to express my sincere gratitude to you to being here today and sharing with us your experiences and to letting us understand the importance of entrepreneurship. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.